I thought you said you went. Oh, we should have had an outtake.
Right, now we go.
Okay, hi everyone. It's Minnie Kansman here for Be Live and Star Nations Radio. And this is our Nature Adventure Show with my co-host, Neshi Lokotz. And I think Neshi's coming up right now. And today, this afternoon, I've got to get used to us being on the afternoon time now. We are talking about fall and the leaves and how they let go. And so we named the show Be Like a Tree and Leave, which I think is just kind of funny. So we're going to talk about how the trees just seem to be able to let go of their leaves with no thought. They just let them fall. And in our lives, sometimes it's a lot harder than that. Even making decisions to leave a relationship, leave a job. For me, it's even just leaving this season of summer as we turn into fall. What I did today, because we have a hard frost coming tonight, and Neshi hasn't seen this, but I went out and picked a bunch of flowers because I know these are zinnias and these are mums and cosmos and all kinds of cool stuff. Because for me, this time of year is always a little sad as a gardener because I have to say goodbye to my gardens. I have to leave my gardens. And that beautiful job, that's not really a job, it's a labor of love, of caring and tending for these plants that I have since April of this year. So having to say goodbye to that time out in nature, and for me, it's coming up with a different way to spend time out in nature now, whether it's just walking with the dog or just sitting and watching the bird feeder. Now, that's a big way I connect with nature in the winter is watching the birds. But saying goodbye to my gardens is kind of hard. Neshi, what's hard for you to say goodbye to this time of year?
Well, actually, it is the change of the season. It's the shorter days because we're having less and less the length of the daylight, and so having it dark at 6 o'clock, 5:30, something like that. That part is difficult. What the other piece is for me is the temperature. You can feel it changing and getting colder, and you can actually feel the shift or the change of the season in the wind, when you pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually sharing out the show.
She's liking and sharing because I opened, so that's her job, liking and sharing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, for me, I put my leaf jacket on. I've got my fleece on because I'm cold in the house even.
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like your blood is a little thinner, when by December, 40 degrees will feel warm. But right now it's kind of chilly out there.
Yeah, it is. And and getting out, the long sleeves, like you said, like your fleece and that kind of thing, and getting the changing the wardrobe for the season, and realizing that, oh man, I need new jeans. So letting go of the comfortable jeans that are really worn, but knowing
and the sandals and the flip flops, and you have to put socks on, and it just takes longer to get ready to go outside. Can't just run barefoot with shorts on and a tank top anymore. So the whole shoe wardrobe changes and shifts. There's boots and all of that.
Yeah.
So, I was looking at the dates because I was wondering, like, when is Samhain? Samhain's coming up, and it is actually falling on Halloween this year, which is interesting that it falls on the 31st this year and runs through the 1st of November. And, for me, there's Samhain, and then there's Day of the Dead, and that runs the 31st to the 2nd of November. So for me, those holidays kind of mark the end of the harvest season and as we step into a true winter time and moving, from that to winter solstice. This time of it is really about letting go. It's all about going within and um, being more yin in your life.
And some of the card draws that I've been doing, I would say this week especially, that's what it's all been about is going within and going into that quiet, right? That
Mm-hmm.
quiet space. And last week it was all about change. Change is on the horizon. And that
Right.
I think on Saturday or Sunday, it was like it's at your door. It's not coming, it's
Yeah.
here, you know.
Right.
And I was thinking
Hi.
about our show and the topic that we were doing, and how the cards were really, really helping me see the messages, right, that we're going to be talking about. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm still sharing.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
I was going to ask you if you could put up that Rumi quote.
sure. I can do that. Hang on. Absolutely.
Um,
There we are.
I love Rumi, one of my
Ooh.
favorite poets. Um,
There, it's up.
so, be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop. So, what are the dead leaves in your life? What is what are you hanging on to that it's time to let go, or maybe it's way past time to let go? That's what today's show is about as well. What are you afraid to let go of? Maybe what are yeah. Um, I let go of a few things this year, and I was really scared to do it. But I tell you, once I did it, I felt so good. I felt so relieved. I felt like I could, I was lighter and I could fly.
Mm.
So sometimes it's the fear of letting go. It's not actually, when you let go and you release, it opens up a whole new energy.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we called titled the show that we did, "Be Like a Tree and Leaf." What with the leaves falling, the tree is just doing what the tree does, right? When
Right.
that cycle is finished, um, they send their energy down to their roots and
Right.
getting ready for the winter, and so the leaves then, what they do is they fall off because they're no longer serving a purpose for the tree. Yeah.
Right. Right. They're not making chlorophyll. They aren't needed anymore. We need the new babies in spring to do that. But yeah, it is following the cycles. And if we would, you know, pay attention to nature more, we could learn so much from her cycles, just about what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But the tree isn't any less alive, even though maybe it looks like it is
Mm-hmm.
dead, but it's not. You're right. It's sending all of that energy into the roots and building for the next season. It's got all of its energy into the acorns. It's making all of those pieces to come.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at the pine cones on the pine trees, even.
Yeah.
You know, um, they're all shedding, falling down, and I've been gathering those this year because they work really well for kindling for the fireplace. I
Yes,
found,
they
and they
do.
smell really good.
Yes,
But
they
they
do.
light really well.
Uh-huh.
So that's been my new kindling, and so I've been paying attention to those pine cones dropping and
Harvesting the pine cones.
harvesting. Yeah, it is. It is. This is our final harvest.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
before, once the snow comes, it's really hard to harvest things. So
Yeah.
this is time. So I harvested, I harvested flowers today. I harvested all this beauty, and oh, they smell so good. I wish you could smell them. They smell so yummy.
We need aroma be live.
Yeah, we do, and yeah. So let it go.
Let it go. I have a picture here. This is one of my favorite pictures of one of the maple trees at our house. It's right outside of the Four Season porch. And so this tree, I get to watch the different cycles. In the springtime, all the little buds that the maple tree has. And when those buds fall off, when that red furry little thing falls off, they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
It's everywhere.
But when it leaves out in the summertime, I also have a futon in the Four Seasons. So when I take a break, a lot of times that's where I'm at, and I'm looking up into this tree. And so in the fall, I took this picture last fall, and it was such a beautiful golden. A lot of times it's red, but last year, it was golden.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I have, let's see if I can get the next picture. I don't know. Did I load that one? I guess I didn't. There was one, there is some leaves that, where our fire pit used to be, and how our backyard gets carpeted by all of these maple leaves that fall off in the fall. And I'm telling you, it could be, at least maybe 3 or 4 inches deep sometimes. We will sweep the walks and that kind of thing, and the next morning we have just as many. So all the leaves are off. And now they're finally, the leaves are off around the house. And even I think it was on Saturday, Paul and I were working on leaf removal. We went out the next morning, and it was like we didn't do anything.
Yeah. Rain's already done our whole yard once. What's great about living in, with woods next to you, I'm sure you do this too, is that you can just, pile them up on a tarp and move them to the woods. You don't have to bag leaves up or burn them or do. When I always thought it was funny that people that lived near a forest would burn their leaves. It's like, why? Give them back to nature. She knows what to do. You're not going to have an abundance of in the summer. They're going to be gone. She eats them up. It's called composting. It's just funny. When I see city people move out to the country, they just make me laugh sometimes. But
oh my God, building the pole shed first.
We'll rake several times, but I still have a lot of leaves. Trees. My maples are just turned last weekend, so we're that far behind.
Wow.
Yeah, we haven't just started having the cold, and that's a part of it.
Yeah,
those leaves having the cold at night. So
well, and when we say that, nature in its cycles, nature doesn't exactly follow the calendar. Did you notice that? that when it's the fall equinox, here our tree, everything was still green at the fall.
Right.
It's
I was there teaching.
Yeah. What, a week, 2 weeks later is when it was actually fall. And I know that we hold ceremonies during those times, like the equinoxes and the solstices, and we tap into that energy of that season. But I have to say that Samhain, that's coming up, and the origin of Halloween, not what it is today, but the origin, it followed nature. It didn't follow the calendar. Not really. I mean, they waited until, nature told them that it was spring, and now is the time. Now is the time to hold the ceremonies. Now is the time to give thanks for the last harvest. Right.
Yeah. They weren't following the calendar, or did they even have the calendar we have? Yeah.
Yeah, really. The Greek, I think it's Greeks called it Chronos and Kairos. Chronos is the calendar and the marking of time, keeping track of time, that kind of thing. And Kairos is the nature part of it that doesn't exactly follow the clock or the calendar. That's Kairos.
Well, that's just kind of like eating, not on a schedule of lunch at noon and dinner at 6. And,
I know.
Letting your body tell you when you're hungry and eating. It's we've gotten very lineal in our in our world, and even with our holidays and our Celtic holidays. But,
yeah, I honestly, I wish we could. We used to. That's what we used to do here with Paul and I before Mom moved in. We basically ate when we wanted to eat, when we were hungry. It wasn't exactly well, we have to have breakfast right now because that's when people say, or society says, that you have to have breakfast before 9 a.m. It's like, no, we didn't do it that way, especially on the weekends. And many times when Paul was gone for, business trip, or, when he was in the National Guard, when he was gone on maneuvers and that kind of thing, I ate lunch and supper whenever I wanted to. It wasn't by the clock. And I felt so much better too, doing it that way.
Right. And for me, sometimes, if I'm involved in something, especially gardening or something, I don't want to come in and make dinner. I want to finish what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm not hungry. It's just I gotta go in because it's time to make dinner. It doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So following the calendar, letting nature just lead you and listening to when it's time to do that ceremony, I think is awesome. Yeah.
I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be kind of cool to have a retreat weekend where we could do forest therapy, but to actually have the weekend that we follow nature, nature, and actually maybe there's some people especially in Star Nation's community that maybe they've never experienced living not by the clock, but by nature and how your body feels with it, right?
We hide all the clocks. We cover all the clocks. Nobody knows what time it is. And we just do what feels right for as long as it feels right. And then you move on to the next.
Yeah.
And is anybody hungry? Okay, let's go eat. I love it.
We should try that.
It's so relaxing, doesn't it?
I know.
It just sounds easy.
I think we're onto something there. I really do.
Letting go of time. We're letting go of time.
We could call it that. It's like letting go of time. Is to experience what it's like to have your day follow nature rather than the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We should do that. We'll have to look at the 2019 calendar and see where we can fit that in.
It's great. Cool. I think it sounds good.
Yeah, I do too. Now, I wanted to ask you a question, Minnie. When you said that you had released some stuff, right? At the beginning of the show, you were sharing with people about that. It's a little bit about clutter clearing in a way, right? Mm-hmm. And so, let's talk about that a little bit. What did you do, and how did you do it when you were doing the releasing?
Well, I had been hearing, it's kind of a personal matter, so I'm not going to go into the details, but I had been feeling I needed to do this for over a year, Spirit had been telling me, or, my inner guides have been telling me that it was time for me to do this piece and launch on my own, do my own thing. Mm-hmm. And I hesitated because it was in the middle of something. And then I'm always considering how other people are going to feel and how's it going to affect their lives. And there's all those kind of excuses that would come up, and I'll wait until it's not a good time. I'll wait till a better time. I'll wait till a better time. And the more I postponed it, the worse I felt. And the louder the voices in me said, you have to make this change. You have to do this piece. And it wasn't that I was afraid to do something on my own. It was, I think it was more about how it would be perceived by others. Mm-hmm. And how, I was worrying about everyone else but me.
Okay. Yeah. And so when you let go of other people's perceptions, when you let that go.
Well, right? When I actually did it wasn't as bad as I thought, I mean, it was quite easy and smooth, because I had perceived it could be much worse, and it wasn't. And it's just been really smooth, and it's felt really good. And in fact, someone the other day asked me, well, do you have any regrets about letting that go? And I'm like, no, I'm so looking forward to what I'm creating that I'm not looking back. Yeah. And I think that's part of letting go is don't look back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's following your soul, your heart, right?
So there's a lightness in that and a freedom. The word freedom came too. I always perceive when I hear other people's stories too about letting go, I often hear that word, it was freeing, or I felt free, or a heavy load was lifted off my shoulders. There's an ease of movement forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What have you let go of this? Wow. Well, not even this. I know you've let go of a lot of things, girl. So.
Oh my God, where to start? But the most recent one, and it really is very recent, is we have George, our puppy now, right? Well, he's already outgrown his puppy stuff. He's outgrown 2 collars, the Kongs that they make for puppies. And there was a couple other things that he's got that he's already outgrown. And I was looking at this the other day. It's like, what do you do with these? It's not like you can, we're going to get another puppy, and I don't know anybody else who's got a puppy, close by.
Right.
So what I have is, I have a box started, to go to. It's a, no-kill shelter here. It's called Chasing Daylight. And so I thought, well, I'm gonna donate his puppy things there, right? But I also have a few other things that we have down. We have down in the basement. It's artwork. It's a framed artwork that we haven't put up on the walls in probably 8 years. And I was looking at those the other day, thinking, why are we hanging on to this? We don't have enough wall space, and I used to rotate things out, and I just don't have the time to do that anymore. So I was thinking, Paul and I were talking about, we have 3 pieces of artwork. One that was gifted to me quite a while, probably about 4 years ago, that really doesn't, I love the idea that they gave it to me and that they were thinking about me, but it's just not me,
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking maybe what if they have, because Chasing Daylight has a fundraiser coming up, and I was thinking maybe they could auction the artwork, and that it would go to a good cause, and it would be meant to save these animals, these dogs and these cats. Yeah. All right. Well, so hey, Julie's here and Rochelle's here. Hello there, ladies. Yeah. And Julie says, hi there. Time said 3 Central Time. Oh, If I did it this morning, I was on the fly. I apologize. It was supposed to be EST, 3 EST. So I apologize for that. If I did that, it was when I made the reminder this morning, it was kind of on the fly. And so Julie is going, Minnie, so when you let go, you don't look back. Can you talk more about that? She's asking.
Well, I'm just so stinking excited about where I'm moving forward to that. I don't have any regrets. I have memories. I have fond memories. I hold the fond memories close to my heart. I have photographs, to remind me. But I don't need to look back and go, did I make the right decision or not? Oh my gosh, I messed up, screwed up, whatever. I'm not doing that. I know I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I know it, but a big part of it is the excitement of where I'm going. I'm in the present, manifesting the future, and you don't manifest the past, you manifest the future.
That's a good one. Somebody needs to quote that, or did you read that somewhere? Because that's a good quote.
No, it just came out. Manifest.
Write that down. Okay, hang on. I literally am going to write that down. You don't manifest
the past.
The past, comma. You manifest the present. Is that what you said? Or did you say the future?
The present and the future. Yeah.
Future.
But yeah, yesterday I manifested today. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the part, to not beat yourself up for the decision you made, or second guess, people would say. I second guessed that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Once you make a decision, make it.
Yeah.
And
I think that is about, I was going to say, I heard a dog whine. George isn't here. It's like you made me look. Rosie's here?
She wants to go in the cubby. She's barking. She loves to go check out the cubby.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right. We understand. George and I do that all the time. Give me a second, right? So, what Minnie was saying about, when we make those decisions, and when we leave something, when we let something go, is that when we're doing it fully present when we're making that decision, I think, lends to having less or no regrets, because you're fully present in your body making that decision.
Right. It doesn't mean it wasn't hard to do it. It was hard, It was hard to let that, letting go, that final hold of the tree with the leaf, when it finally, doesn't mean it wasn't hard. Sometimes the wind has to come up and push off. But once you fall, are you going to fall gracefully to the ground,
Yeah.
Awaiting your next beginning. You get to be a leaf, you get to be compost, and
right.
Or a nest for a squirrel, or whatever. It's the next thing you're going to be.
And nature takes care of that. I mean, you're right. When in the fall we do get wind, that does take those leaves off the tree, right? Some of them fall on their own. Some of them need a nudge from the wind. And then you ever notice we get rain, and we might get multiple days of rain. And one of the things my mom said to me a long time ago is, and she goes, oh, now the rains are going to come. And when the rains come, it takes down the rest of the leaves that are ready to go. And then the moisture on the ground, on the earth, it begins the process of decomposing.
Mhm.
And so it turns into that compost, and it fertilizes for the new growth in the spring.
Great.
Yeah.
Even even that oak tree is fertilizing itself if you think about it, it's all cycling back in. It's pretty darn cool.
Here's Julie. She says, perfect that about your quote. Needs to be on the Star Nation's daily Insta memes.
It's amazing.
I'll see what I can do about that. I got a bunch
Yeah.
of YouTubes I got to get uploaded from yesterday and today. So. And Jackie's with us too. She's waving at us. Hello, Jackie.
Oh, hi, Jackie.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
There's a picture of a leaf with a violet on it, Neshi. Show that.
Okay, here it is.
That photo, a friend of mine, Nikki on Facebook, posted these photos. Her and her kids went out and were just having so much fun playing with the leaves. She has young children, and they were creating these little, like, put the violet on the leaf, take the photo, kind of like a photo shoot with the leaves. And they're the background for our ad for the show today too. She took that picture, or her children helped create that kind of collage with leaves. And I just thought that was such a fun way to play with the fall. And that they had these violets, which usually bloom in the spring. They were blooming in the fall at her yard, which I've never seen. So that was cool too.
Wow. I want to go back and look at our photo. Oh, here we are. Here he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of.
She put pine in it, and she put all the colors. Well, they put, I should say.
Yeah. I love it. Did that. Yeah, I'm so glad she let us use it for our promo.
Yeah, it was great. And I've seen, people in our forest therapy groups. One of the invitations can be create a mandala with found items, and people will create these beautiful mandalas with leaves and sticks and stones and flowers, and it's really, really quite fun. There's an artist, is it Andy Goldsworthy? Have you ever seen his work? Where he actually goes out and creates art like that in nature, and very fleeting art. It just lasts for, he takes, does it, takes some photos, it's gone the next day, but it will be very intricate and beautiful. And then he has like coffee table books of his art, and a lot of it is leaves. It'll be like golden leaves that graduate from large size all the way down to small, up the stem of a tree, a branch of a tree. It's pretty amazing if you ever get to see any of his art.
What was his name? Andy what?
Andy Goldsworthy, I believe.
Andy's
Goldsworthy, Gold something.
Okay.
I'm sure if you Googled him, it would, images, it would come up.
And here's Julie. She says, made me tear up, the path of the leaf. Great analogy. Yeah. And the thing is that when we are listening to our spiritual team, right? And we can feel it when we know something that we have in our life that is reached its end of its cycle. And it's time to let that go and make room for the next experience or the next thing. It is like the leaves on the tree, and it is, the how Grandmother Earth does the decomposition, to decompose it. And when you think about it, just because that you have let that go, doesn't mean that you don't have the memories, like Minnie said. And you also keep any of the life lessons that you learned from it. That's wisdom, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then that decomposing of what you released is really feeding the new cycle. And I think that's the wisdom. That's what we take that's what we garner from that we let go. And so when we think about it that way, it's like there's very little room for guilt, or another one would be, your self-confidence. Did I make the right decision? Can I really do this? Am I really, do I have what I need to be able to do that? Or maybe, it's safer to stay in this because I know this. I don't know a lot about what's coming or what's going to be there.
Right.
So, yeah. Yeah. So nature certainly.
Me, I was thinking of another piece that I just recently let go of, or I put a dream on the back burner, I guess, is our idea of Rain and I moving out to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've tried in so many different ways, and Rain's applied for so many jobs out there, and none of them have happened. And for me, that's spirit saying, no, it's not time. Mm-hmm. It's not time. And every time I would meditate, I would hear, timing's not right, not time. Mm-hmm. Even, in my heart, I think I want to be out there now. And, timing wise, I want to be out there to, if my grandchildren show up, but it's not time. So, sometimes just letting go of where you think you're going, because the universe has a different plan for you. There's a letting go in that too.
Yeah.
Of letting go of control. Is it?
Yes. I was just going to say that there is a difference between needing or wanting control to control something and free will. Mm-hmm. They're not the same. They're not the same. The control constricts things. There's very little movement that energy can flow through because it's constricted. And when it's constricted, you're not coming from a place of love. You're not coming from your heart. You're coming from your head. Right. And free will is about expansion, and it's about applying your gifts that you came in with and making decisions around that. In other words, your heart is leading it. There's a balance between your ego and your heart. It's just not all a mental process. So, yeah, I think that some people get those two, I don't want to say confused, but they're not the same. They're not the same at all. Controlling is completely from your mental mind, and free will is a balance between your heart and your head.
Right.
Yeah.
And we think we like control because we think we can see where we're going and the path's laid out, and then there won't be any surprises or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it never seems to work that way, does it?
No.
Even when you try to control it, so learning to that go with the flow, or just to tune in and be here in the present. This is where I am now, and
well,
I'm meant to be there. I'll get there.
As you're talking, I had now I have an echo. Move away from the mic.
We can't control it.
No, can't control it. One of the things that came through as you were talking is we're talking about trees that are called deciduous, right? They're the ones that have the brilliant color. They're the ones that it's very dramatic. When you live in the upper Midwest or Northeast, we have those dramatic changes in the seasons, and we see the beautiful color and how the leaves get dropped and all of that. But there's other trees that don't change color and that keep their leaves or their needles, right? Coniferous, right?
Coniferous. The conifers, yeah, they do drop. It's a fallacy that they don't. They do drop needles. because
Yeah.
if you look under a pine tree, you'll see all kinds of pine needles. But it's not as obvious, and it's kind of throughout the year. It's not a certain time.
Yeah.
They don't lose them all. It's kind of like we lose our hair every time we wash it, brush it. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So it's much less dramatic, as you said.
Yeah, but they're still letting go. They're still releasing. It's just not as noticeable and as dramatic. Now, if you live in areas like in northern Wisconsin, they have much more pine trees up there than they do maple. Okay, and so their change of season, they would tell you that the pine needles it's a carpet of pine needles. Because they see it, they live in it. But what I was being reminded about is that the cycles, or what we call seasons, every place has them. There's some places that are much more subtle in their change, ending of a cycle and beginning of a new, and others are much more dramatic. And that actually that kind of matches our personalities, doesn't it? There's some people who go through their inner work and their changes and their shifts and that kind of thing, and it's a much more subtle. And where those are the
They're
people
not really talking about.
those are the ones that you look at them, you think there's something different about you. What happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to thank my team for that one, because they just gave that to me. Oh, talk about that. and the pine trees, because like you said, that it is a fallacy. They do lose their needles. It's just not as noticeable. Yeah.
Right. Because they're still green. Yeah.
They're still green. Yeah. They're still food for animals. Hey, Julie, thank you so much. She says, I'm back. Had to share the show. Yay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Okay. So you have a couple of other pictures here that you want to share.
Yeah.
You have this one. Here's a quote.
The one.
The person. Yeah. The person who does.
See it all in.
I think so. The person who doesn't value you is blocking you from the one who will. Let them go. Robert Tew? T-E-W? Tew?
Yeah. I found that last night. I thought that was really a good one. As we talk about relationships, perhaps if you're in a relationship that you're thinking about, or you've been nudged for a while about shifting, and thinking that is, until you step into that new, as letting go, you don't know what you're blocking, what you're keeping yourself from, and you're not getting any younger. So, your life's quality is important. And, people, I see people in sad relationships, and they stay, and it's like, what are you waiting for? It obviously isn't getting better. But it could if you left, if there's someone new. But again, it's all that scariness about what is, and kind of, like my decision, what are other people going to think? There's all that. But, how many people have you talked to that have left relationships and they're so glad they did? I mean, they had their freedom. They lived their life again. They're back on living their life again. They had put it on hold for so long. I hear that so much.
Yeah. Or, I'd forgotten what it was like to be me.
Yes.
Because they were molding themselves into what that other person wanted. And so they had forgotten what they were actually like. Yeah.
Right.
To me, that's the scary part. That would be scary for me. That I couldn't be me in a relationship. That's why I'm not in one of those.
Well, we wouldn't stay. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. All right. So here's another one that you had for us. What if trees refuse to let go of their dying leaves? Letting go lets us grow.
Right. It's all about that cycle again. If
Yeah.
you had the backup of all the dead leaves on the tree with the new ones trying to come out in the spring, and what would that would be a mess. What would that look like?
I'm trying to envision this if it could even be possible, because nature takes care of itself, right? It will push the dead leaves off somehow. They get rid of the dead pieces, the pieces that have low or no energy in them.
Right. So we need to be like a tree. See?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And and if they didn't push the parts of them that had no energy left in it, chances are it would start affecting the whole tree.
Right. It wouldn't grow properly. It would be deformed, or
Mm-hmm.
it would clog the system. Yeah.
Ooh, clogging. And we're not talking about that dance. Oh my gosh. Here,
all kinds of things to release.
yeah, Julie. Julie made a really good statement here. It's not showing up in the studio yet. Sometimes I think either Facebook or Be Live, they kind of hold the comments in a catch, and then either to time elapse and they release it, or something. But here's what Julie says. She says, "This show is seriously making me tear up. A poem is coming, so much here."
Aww.
And Jackie is saying, "I'm so glad I caught the show. It was needed." She's got a bunch of leaves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the thing is, guys, is in our audience, and by the way, thank you for being with us today. It's our first day, really officially, in our new day and time slot. So next month, look for us on the third Wednesday of the month at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. But the topic that we chose today, it's kind of funny. Minnie sent me this email about the show, and it was that same morning I was thinking about our show, because I was watching the leaves falling and changing color and that kind of thing. And so we were on track with each other, and so we talked about it a little bit more to kind of flesh it out. And when we talk about our personal experience and sharing it with you, it's because we've been through it. And so now we have this experience that we can share with you and what we've gained from it. And so when Minnie's sharing with you, making a life-changing decision to let something go so that she could create something new, wasn't that, I mean, talk about flipping switches and triggers for people. It's like, because we go through it too. It's just that we use our tools, and when it comes to maybe a tough spot, we have our sisters, our tight group that we have, that we can contact and talk it through, share with it. But we also will remind each other to use our gifts and our tools. Did you use your oils? Did you tap that out? Those kinds of things. Did you want to add something to that?
Right. Well, that's like I was sharing with my massage therapist, Patty Heredia, who's a writer for the show. was sharing her about this shift, and we often talk while she's working on my body, because I know she knows that's a really good way to release is, as I talk, she's working on the physical and it's releasing it out. So she's the one that posed that question to me. Is there anything you're missing? Is there anything you regret about your decision?
Mm-hmm.
And then I said emphatically, no, I'm looking forward to the next step. She was like, oh, that's awesome. That's great. So it's just another way to let go is doing, that physical healing with the physical body to release while you're doing the mental releasing.
Right. Because it's, you're moving the energy through. Not going to get stuck or stagnant. A little feng shui.
Right.
Throw a little feng shui in there. Speaking of feng shui, let's see. I want to take a look at the time. We got about 10 minutes. Let's just talk a little bit about. Okay, so we talked about changes, making decisions, and much of that has to do with our mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies, right? If we talk about the changes in letting go in the physical sense, because to make sure we cover that body, to let go of something in the physical sense. So for me, when I think about that, I think about that clutter clearing piece, where do I have the clutter, and is it stopping the flow of energy, or at least slowing it down, in my house. Yeah. And so, and it changes. It's not the same place every time. I think that's why our relatives, our ancestors, they did the spring cleaning and fall cleaning, right? In the spring, they would take everything out of their house and dust it, clean it, and then they'd wash the walls and the floors. And God, we don't go to that extent, but
yeah, they had a lot less stuff. It'd take us days to get everything out of our house.
Well, and they also heated differently too. They didn't have gas heat, or they had either wood burning or charcoal, and that really does a number on the walls and the floors and your possessions. So they had to take everything out if they really wanted to clean. And you're right, they didn't have as many physical possessions either, like we do. Oh, can you imagine that? I can't. God.
I think it would be cool if I could put everything out. I mean, I would love to clean my house that thoroughly, but the only time you really get to do that is when you move, when you move into a new place.
That's so true, because we actually get into the closets and drawers, and am I keeping this? How many times am I going to move my academic books? I moved them 4 times. 4 times.
It's time to let them go, Nesh. Yeah.
I'm not in college anymore. I'm not going to be in college again. Well, and even if I were, they're outdated. Let them go.
Yeah.
Moving those big books. Oh my gosh.
I have a big project for this winter. I have one of the cubbies, like the one Rosie was trying to get into. One of my cubbies, when we first moved here, was labeled my office cubby. And now these cubbies are not like easy to get in. You got to like bend down, and you can't stand up all the way. So they're not a real easy place to get in and out of. So that makes them kind of a clutter collector, because it's just not easy to move things in and out of them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this one cubby that it's got a lot of stuff, and I pride myself in doing a lot of clutter clearing, but that cubby is just stumped me about why it's so cluttered. And I did some work this summer in meditation, and taught a clutter clean class at Great Lakes, and that helped because I was doing research for that, and I found some ideas and realized that, you know, there's a lot of times there's an emotional link to that clutter pile, and you have to dig down and figure out what is to the bottom of it. And for me, that cubby holds a lot of there's a certification course I took in manifesting abundance in coaching, and I never really launched it. I never really did it. And all that material is sitting there, and it's, to me, it's saying failure. You didn't do this. And I don't want to look at that, you know. But it took me several meditations to get to the piece, like, because I would just like, what is in there that I don't want to look at? So that's a good way to look at a pile of clutter. Is like, what is here that I really don't want to see? You know, what is keeping me from clearing this? And when I figured that one out, then it was like, okay, now I can tackle it. Now I can go in, because I'm not a failure. So what? I can let that go. That didn't work out, you know, but I've moved on from there. I can glean the pieces of information I got from that course that I really enjoyed, and I can let the rest go. Don't have to keep all of paraphernalia from it. It can probably go in a burn, is probably what it'll do, or it'll go, you know, to Goodwill. You know, some of them are books and things, but some of them, you know, a ritual burn is really helpful. We know that from our past, right, Neshi? When you're letting go of things to create that kind of ceremony around it can be very healing and very helpful. If it's an emotional piece like that.
Yes. Yes. So because our homes from a feng shui perspective, they're a metaphor for our life. And so, and, you know, and knowing this information, practicing that information as a lifestyle, you know, I turn around and I look at my basement and where my office is, which I haven't worked out of my office in a while, because I work upstairs because it's so much easier rather than doing the stairs many times a day. And so I was looking. I had to take some stuff down there the other day, and I'm standing there thinking, we got to do something about this. This is not just clutter. It's just out of, okay, there's chaos going on here. So where am I experiencing chaos in my life? Right. Yeah. And so once I take the time to go down there and start at least in one area and start getting things either put away, given away, or thrown away.
Right.
The
like it. Put away, give away, throw away,
right.
Or burn.
or burn. But you know, it's just that one step. It's the one step, and sometimes that's all it takes, and then you're on a roll. But yeah, you're right. I like that about, you know, what is it? What part of this clutter that's representing something that I don't want to face?
Right.
Yeah.
It's very telling. It's very telling.
Yeah, you know, and that it also extends to my laptop because I got this little prompt the other day about you know, the storage space, and this is a relatively new laptop, and it's like, okay, so it's all the pictures that I download.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they take quite a bit of space, and so it's really kind of organizing and moving them to maybe the cloud or to an external drive. And
different story.
Right. So I guess, you know, what we're talking about here is we're using trees and autumn as the vehicle to express and to have this conversation about things in our lives that no longer serve a purpose for us, and to be able to let them go.
Right.
Yeah. So I got to look at the time. We got 1 minute left. Oh, Minnie, we're going to go over just a little bit because I know that there's a couple things that Minnie wants to share and a couple things I have to share too. So, Minnie, what would you like to say?
Well, I am I'm putting the advertising out this afternoon. Doing a forest therapy walk November 3rd here at the house, which I've never done in my own woods here. But I'm doing it partly because we can have a fire in the fire pit to stay warm if it's a cold day. And also I was just out there walking last night, and the land would really like me to do that, to offer it to some people to share with. So I'll be doing that November 3rd, 1 to 4 p.m. here at my house in Lyons, Michigan. And there'll be a Facebook event page on that that'll be coming out tonight. And moving forward with my travel business, Nature Adventures, yay. So my website has all been shifted toward that. So if you check out minniekansman.com, you can see all the beautiful photos that I've loaded, and haven't really announced this yet. Promised a few people that I would wait till the weekend, but I do have a trip coming up. So if you get on the website and you see it, you can take me. You can probably get in, but it's going to be a pretty small trip, about 8 to 10 people. I'll be taking to Rocky Mountain National Park in Estes Park, Colorado next fall. So you heard it here first.
What are the dates on that?
The dates are, oh my gosh, September 15th to the 22nd. Yes, that's it. September 15th to the 22nd. Beautiful time of year to be there, with the aspens changing color and the elk come down to rut, and they're so much fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And, and all the crowds are gone too. So.
Okay.
There you go. Heard it here first.
Yay! Yay! So, I have to tell you guys, is that when Minnie shared this with me and said, this is what I'm going to be announcing, I said, yes, yay, yay, yay. Because, what park is that located in? What national park?
Rocky Mountain National Park.
Rocky Mountain National Park. So if you ever wanted to experience that, and also I'm sure you're going to be doing some forest therapy work there as well. and a professional chef cooking meals.
Yeah, my husband Rain will be our cook and our driver. So yeah, all your meals will be covered. Yep.
Absolutely great. So minniekansman.com for more information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Anything else?
That's all right now. What about you?
Big ones. Well, let's see. We just published the October issue of Star Nations magazine, and last night I did a show about that and some of the backstories to how we created that magazine, because it's our 5th anniversary. I know. Can you believe it? 5 years we've been creating the magazine.
I can't believe I've been writing for 5 years for it either. Wow.
I know. Does it feel like 5 years? No, it doesn't feel like 5 years.
Maybe like 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And so, 5 years. So we had, we had a show about that last night, and what's coming up for Star Nations is we have, I'm going to be working with the co-hosts and the writers, and we're going to be coming up with a list of classes that are going to be held here at Star Nations Academy in 2019. We'll have the teacher listed, the topic, and the month. We just want to get that information out to everybody so that you can kind of scope out the year and see what you would like to join us for, right? Because we know it takes a while to plan stuff, if you're going to be away for any length of time. And then as we work out the details, we'll get those details listed on the website as well. So that's the things coming up next for me to work on and to get that pulled together. And for those who are local here in Toma, Wisconsin, nice drivable distance. I was talking to Paul about this last night. I said, you know what? I think I'm going to start a drum circle, and maybe we'll do meditation one of those times. And so, yeah. So I'm thinking.
Awesome.
I know. I don't know if I can pull it together by November, possible. But maybe we'll get started for the new year and get it posted and do a drum circle, an informal. Yeah, I know. And you know what's exciting is that there'd be some people who made drums with me that I actually get to hear the voices.
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah. Yay. So those are just a couple of the good things that are coming up relatively soon. And nature adventures, we have new day, new time, Wednesdays, third Wednesday of the month at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. And so you'll catch us here again next month on the third Wednesday. So, Minnie, do you have any last words before we say so long?
Oh, everyone, just go outside and enjoy this beautiful fall weather while we have it. If you see the sun out, go pop outside and just take it all in. Take a nice deep breath and just really enjoy nature and watch those leaves fall.
Yeah, absolutely. And enjoy your nature adventure, right? Because we get to have one every day if we choose to. Join me tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 Eastern, for the daily card draw live stream. And we'll get back to that tomorrow, okay? All right. Bama Mina. All right. Padawanami for until we see each other again. See you. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us.